Hey, welcome to another video from cloudy and chilly South Florida. I wanted to take a moment and wish everyone a happy new year. I know you're not supposed to date these videos, but I do a lot of things that probably aren't the norm for these videos. But I do want to wish everyone a happy new year and wish you much success in whatever your endeavors are. Sorry if you hear a little road noise from the highway off that way, a mile or so, but do the best I can. What I wanted to do was talk briefly about some goals that me personally I might have when it relates to my photography for the upcoming year, and maybe have you think about yours as well. One of the things that I want to do is get back into platinum printing. For anyone that doesn't know about platinum printing, you can look it up yourself. Now that you can make digital negatives, it's certainly far easier to do platinum than it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago when I first learned how to do it. Back then you would take your 35 millimeter negative and make a positive into the size of what your image would be. So the majority of mine were 4 by 5 inches. So you'd have to take your 35 millimeter negative, have it enlarger, blow it up to a 4 by 5, make it a positive, then go back and make a negative, and then make your print from there. And if your positive wasn't right, your negative wasn't going to be right. So you had to get a lot of your dodging and burning right. Well, obviously now with a computer and digital negative, you can skip a lot of those steps. Much easier to do, and I think I'd like to maybe make some platinum prints again this year. So that's one of my goals. The other thing I like to do, which I'm in the process of making arrangements for, is to take another trip. Last year we went off to Alaska and weather was horrendous, rained all the time. We had one day where it wasn't buckets of rain all day, and that was the day on the ship we were heading back to Vancouver. And for everyone that says, oh, but it's so much better to have dark and gloomy days in a place like Alaska. Well, that's true to an extent, but if it's pouring down rain the whole time, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So this year I'm planning maybe in May, it looks like, to head off to Iceland, a landscape photographer's dream vacation, from what I'm told. I guess we shall find out. It's going to be an expensive trip, so I don't know how many days we're going to be able to go, at least a week though. So that's one of my goals, is to get there and try to get some nice images. Another goal I was going to have was to say that I'd like to get 1,000 subscribers on this here YouTube channel. But I don't have much control over that. That's up for people to either decide if they like my videos or not, subscribe. I sure hope people do. But I really don't have much control over that. I don't have control over what Google does with my videos. That one's a little bit more out of my control. I guess what I can say is that I'd like to try to come up with some ideas and some thoughts that might help other people. I was watching a video put out by Mark Denny recently, and he talked about how he makes videos because he wants to teach people something, that he just enjoys making his videos. And I sort of feel the same way about my videos. Yes, it's nice to get approval from people. It's nice to hear comments from people. I do appreciate it when I get them. But I don't necessarily make these videos other than because I enjoy doing them, and I hope that somewhere along the line somebody can take something from one of the videos and learn something from it, or just take something from it that helps them in their photography. So I hope instead of saying, well, I want to get 1,000 subscribers or I'd like to get monetized, maybe my goal should be to make some videos that people can take something from, and then if I get subscribers from that, then so be it. Another goal that I have is to really do a deep dive into my cameras and really understand how they work. And I know that sounds obvious, but for a lot of people, I I'm not so sure it is. You know how to turn it on, you know how to get your settings to where you want, and then you go off and you start taking images. But for example, here's just one. Like to set your, let's say I'm doing a landscape image, and I want to set a 2-second timer before, rather than using the shutter release, set the camera for a 2-second timer. I can't remember now if that's on my I menu. I have a Nikon camera. I can't remember if it's on my I menu. I can't remember if it's on my own help menu. You know, you can also have your My menus on the Z7 II and the Z8. I don't remember where I have it. So it's not instinctive to me to just know automatically where to go to, turn it on, be able to turn it off. You know, little settings like that. When I go out and do my bird photography, you know, I set it up for 20 frames per second in RAW. And then I switch over. You know, we just had the holidays and my grandkids were here, and I'm still shooting 20 frames a second rather than just going in and turning it off and switching it over to single frame or whatever I want. It's there. I know how to find it. But I mean, really know, boom, 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 how to get to it quickly. I bought a video series from a fellow by the name of, it's either John Grinko. Sorry, I mispronounced his name. But he does a really good series on how to set up your cameras and goes through all the menus. And I watched it once. One of my goals will be to go back and watch it a second, maybe a third time, and really drill it into my head and get that camera really set up the way I want. The Z8. And I've forgotten, since I haven't been using the Z7 II as much, and that's probably the camera I'm going to use in Iceland is the Z7 II, is to have to go back and really fine-tune that one as well. So that's one of my goals, to really understand my camera. Like I said, I know it, but I mean really know it. I've been told a few times by more than one person, hey, you got to put more humor in your videos. You know, I am who I am. I'm not Gavin Hardcastle or some of these other people who know how to do it really well. That's not to knock Gavin at all. I mean, he's very good at what he does. That's his shtick. That's the way he does his videos. So I don't know that I want to necessarily copy someone. You know, I kind of have to just be me, but I don't know. It's probably something, maybe a goal to think about. How to add a little bit more humor. I tell a couple dirty jokes here and there, but I'm afraid Google would then ban me. So I can't really do that. I have a really good one that I like to tell, but my brother told it to me a long time ago and I've never forgot it. I don't even want to start the joke, because then everybody's going to go, oh, what's the punchline? So I'm not going to do it. It's a dirty joke, but I enjoy it. Another goal, because one of my reasons for doing this YouTube channel, for those who haven't seen it yet, they don't get many views, and I'm sorry they don't, because I feel bad for the people that have sent me their images. And that is my monthly video where I show my photo of the month, along with, right now I have 3 people. I have another person who keeps telling me they're going to send me one, but they never do. But I'd like to build more of a community of people that'll send me their images, and you know, we can just talk about photography a little bit. I don't want this channel to be about me. I want it to be about us. One of the gents who sends me their images every month now, you'll see his name, Simon. And there's Marcus does as well, so I don't want to exclude other people. But there have been a few people that I've spoken with that have commented on my videos and emailed me, and I email them back, and we've discussed some things back and forth, and that's the kind of thing that I'd like to do. I'd like to learn from you as much as maybe you can learn from me. For example, I want to go to Iceland, so, you know, one of my questions is, and I haven't really been able to get a good answer, because it's really an opinion more than an answer, and that is it better to spend 2 days in the, I know I'm going to say it wrong, but the peninsula where Kirkafell is, and the Black Church, you know, that Cenephalus, I know I'm saying it wrong, but that peninsula, Is it better to spend 1 day there, 2 days there? I'm trying to decide before I book these hotels. Or is it better to spend an extra day down on the South Coast? I'm probably going to spend 2 days down in Vic, in that area. Or is it better to go further west and stay a couple days out at Diamond Beach and the lagoon out there? Should you stay 1 overnight there? Should you stay 2 overnights there? You get so many different opinions of people just say, oh, well, you just do the ring road and you do it in a week and you're done. First of all, my wife would hate that because she'd have to pack and unpack every night, and she's not going to want to do that. So I have to take that into consideration. I was watching a video that I think it was Nigel Danson made years ago when he was in Iceland. And he said he would spend 8 to 10 hours in one location. Now, I don't know that I want to do that. But he would just wait for the light to change, and he didn't see as many locations, but he waited for good light to get one solid image. I can see there's some merit in that, but I'd also like to see more than 3 or 4 locations, or 3 or 4 stops, I should say. So those are kind of things that, if it was more of a community, then we could discuss these kind of things. And so when I make a video after I go to Iceland, then I can come back and say, hey, here's what I found. Somebody suggested I stay 2 days up in the peninsula, and they were right. Or maybe you could really do it all in a day. My issue would be you go up there and it rains all day and you get terrible skies, and I don't mean cloudy skies, because obviously cloudy skies would be fine. I'm talking where it just downpours and it's just difficult. It's windy, it's cold, and it's just difficult to get a good image. Whereas if you're there 2 days, maybe you get a shot of coming back the next day and getting an image. Those are the kind of things that I'm curious about. Whereas if we had more of a community, we could discuss those kind of things. And so that's one of my goals, is to try and build that type of relationship with people who want to be involved with this channel with me. I'm serious. I was out here all morning, didn't hear an airplane. Now these jets and everything else are just, it's amazing. They hone in on me when I want to make a video. Another goal is to make at least one really solid portfolio shot. Maybe not necessarily defines your photographic career, but one that you're just super proud of, that you're happy to post and say, I used a lot of my skills in order to get that image. I'd like to take one of those in 2024. Another goal is, I think, to hone in on what are the 3 or 4 lenses that I really want to use and just stick with those. I already know that the Nikon 24-120 f4S lens is one of them. That's going to stay in my bag forever. As long as I have Nikon cameras, that lens is going to be in my bag. That's such a versatile lens. But for Iceland, I'll probably take the 20mm 1.8. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to take the Voigtlander 50mm Apo. I'm leaning towards yes, but it's not weather sealed. So I don't know. If anybody has any recommendations, I'm going to take the Tamron 70-300. I don't believe that's weather sealed either. Don't know how much I'll use it, but if I want that extended reach, probably going to need it. I thought about taking the 24-200 Nikon, but you don't really get that much more of a reach over the 24-120, and the 24-120 is a little bit better lens. So trying to limit myself to 3 lenses. So is it the 24-120, the 70-300, and then one of the primes, the 20 or the 50? Or I just take the 20? If you got any ideas, let me know. So anyway, those are my goals for the year. Again, I wish you a happy new year, prosperous new year. If you want to drop me a comment and let me know your goals, I'd sure appreciate it. I like hearing from everybody. I really do. Anyway, Happy New Year. If you survived this long, I know I didn't throw a bunch of images up there. Take good care of yourself, and I'll be back after the first of the year. My buddy Simon sent me some ideas on some videos to possibly make for the new year, so I may take a gander at those and maybe make a video about one of his topics, one of his ideas. So anyway, until then, take good care of yourself. Happy New Year.